people, it's Jennifer Fitzgerald again here at Deluxe Lifestyle Strategies, and thank you for joining me on my journey, my challenge to spread some education on how to make, save, and protect your money. Last episode, I went into more of my story, which is always super fun, so if you missed that, make sure you check it out on the Deluxe Lifestyle channel here on YouTube. But today, we're back to my favorite subject, money! Today, I have the honor of introducing you to this amazing young man to my left over here, Mario Pajaj. Mario is visiting us today from the windy city of Chicago, and we're going to cover, because some of you may not know this actually, that we actually have a few things in common, which is why I believe that we have connected so quickly. Mario's first passion was graphic design, and I'm going to let him tell you more about that in a minute, because we're really here to talk about what he's doing now, which is helping people save money. And I'm not talking about 20 bucks a month or a week type of savings. I'm talking about $100,000 off your mortgage on your house, right? Mario came from the banking industry, and when he gets into his story, you're going to understand his passion for the information that he's sharing with people today. So let's get right to it. Welcome, Mario, and thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you so much, Jen. It's been so fun.
Awesome.
Kind of hanging out and talking with you over this last month.
Right? So tell us a little bit about your backstory. Did you grow up in Chicago, and how did you get into graphic design, which I see is kind of heavily influenced by action things like sports and superheroes from just the few things I've seen so far?
Yeah, so I actually moved to the United States when I was 7 from Albania. So I came from Europe. And when I came here, I'd always been a pretty artistic kid. My grandpa would always give me little pieces of paper and pencils to draw all the time.
Awesome.
So, I've been drawing for like decades now.
Okay.
And I kind of fell into graphic design in high school because I saw a way of it always seemed pretty cool to me that people were able to make awesome looking things on the internet and on their computers. And I kind of, and this is, I don't think you know this part of my story yet, but when I was in high school, I started a sports apparel company.
Oh my goodness.
When I was 17, and I kind of fell into it. I was just doing, designs for my friends who were athletes. I was an athlete back then as well. I did football and wrestling.
Okay.
But
kind of like wrestler.
Right. Kind of like Russell. I think that's why Russell and I connected.
Right.
But I started doing designs for like uniforms and stuff because the coaches would ask me to, and then I found a way to manufacture them overseas. And I was an 18-year-old, designing these sports uniforms. I did up to the point where I was like 20. And the company just kind of grew exponentially from there. It went from like a few club teams around the area locally that I knew the coaches for to I started doing work for the U.S. Olympic team. Oh, wow. When I was like 20, and I was doing work for memorial events where our Olympic wrestlers would wear them and give them as gifts to other competitors from around the world. And it kind of blew up at that point. The company I was getting so many orders, I actually shut down. And most people would just hire and they'd scale.
Yeah.
But I was a 20-year-old with no business experience. Art school, I didn't even finish art school because they were like, listen, you're already doing this professionally. You don't have to get
Why go to school?
Right. They're like, you don't have to get the degree. And I just kind of shut it down there after that, and I got into finance. And it's kind of led me to this point now. But
wow.
That's like my history of graphic design.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Wow. Yeah. That's true. I didn't know, like, entrepreneurial mindset, like, before you even graduated. That's amazing. Over my history of talking to so many different people, I've noticed that people who aren't born in America have a lot more of that in their, I don't know if it's in your genes or your family because you're coming over to, America, the place that, people are in that industry, right, to become successful. So that's awesome. That's super cool that your grandfather influenced you into the art side of things. That's awesome. So this morning I was actually listening to Tony Robbins. I'm sure you do as well because we're all on that same line, right? And he said something this morning that I was like, man, we got to talk about that. So there's only a few subjects in life that really affect the quality of our lives. It's, your body, your emotions, your relationships, and money. So for someone as young as you, like to already have this knowledge is amazing. Did your parents influence you into the arena, or your grandfather? What got you into the banking world and understanding finance?
So yeah, I mean a little bit, because my family, when we lived in Albania, a little mini history lesson. Albania came out of communism officially in 1991, which was the year I was born.
Wow.
So very late.
Very late.
I think we were one of the last countries to come out of it in Europe.
Wow.
So we were always used to not having any money. The government controlled the food we got. The government controlled the jobs people had, what education you got, everything. So when we came to America, it was kind of like a fight to survive, for us. So when we came here, it was, for 3 months we lived with another family. We didn't really even have our own place. My dad worked like 3 jobs for many years. He worked 16-hour days every day.
Right.
For about 3-4 years.
Right.
And it was insane. But we always came from a place of like, we're willing to work harder to provide for each other. And so when I got the opportunity to, once I shut down the graphic design stuff, I had always been interested in math. That was my best subject in school.
Okay.
As funny as that is, art was not my best subject. Math was. So when I found out about, I went to, when I shut down my company, I actually went into business classes at the local community college.
Okay.
And accounting was one of them. And when we got into accounting, our teacher showed us some Excel spreadsheets that he had made. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I love these. So I got into coding up Excel spreadsheets. And that led me to
out.
the kind of, I started geeking up. So over the years, I actually got introduced to somebody who was in life insurance and retirement planning.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of brought me on, to kind of learn from him. I joined that industry. After a while, I kind of left it because it was, nobody takes a 23-year-old life insurance agent seriously. Like, what do you know about life insurance or retirement planning? You just got out of college.
Right.
So I actually went from there. I went into bankruptcy consultations for a law firm, kind of going in the opposite. Yeah.
So diversified.
Oh my God. Right. Literally the opposite direction, where instead of planning for retirement, they're like, I'm losing everything. And on that side, I got to hear the stories of like a lot of people who, over the years, the bank had taken so much from them, and they were coming to the point in their lives where the bank was going to take their house, they were going to take all their belongings, and it was going to, and this was every day. Every day I listened to like, 10 plus people telling me the worst things that are happening to them. And it kind of made me, I would get sick to my stomach. I'm like, what's going on in this industry that like all these people are losing everything they have? And this was way after the recession.
Right.
This was like 2015, 2016.
It's still happening today.
It's still happening today.
Right.
And I was like, I gotta, there's gotta be some way to like kind of change this. And I've always been kind of the troublemaker everywhere I go. Every company I go to, I don't really do things the way they want them to. They would tell me don't spend more than 15 minutes on the phone with anybody. I'd be on the phone for 2 hours with everybody.
Right.
Because I like listening to stories. And when I left the bankruptcy, law firm, I was introduced to somebody. This is so random because like every time I meet somebody, it's always in like the most unprofessional way. Like I met my eventual boss in the mortgage industry at a movie theater. And I was just there with my girlfriend and her friends, and we just kind of started talking, and he was like, hey, it sounds like you know a lot about, finance, would you like to come see what I do? And I got into mortgages that way, and I was like, if I could work in the industry, I think I could help people before they get to that point.
Right.
Before they get to the point where they're losing everything they have.
Right.
And kind of learn the ins and outs of it. And I did mortgages for, for three years now. And it's, it's been a wild ride. It's a very complex industry. There's a lot of stuff going on in it. most stuff regular homeowners don't know. Most homeowners only know about the 30-year fixed rate mortgage. And every time somebody says the word ARM, it's a bad thing. Oh God, I don't want to lose my house. But there's so much stuff going on in the back end that is not available to regular homeowners, but they make them available to like sophisticated investors.
Right.
That if you don't know to ask for it, they won't tell you about it because they don't make any money off of those products.
Right.
I
know.
Like a millionaire,
Exactly.
clients.
Right. I know. I look back at my own life. I wish I had been introduced to what I call the money game rules much earlier in life, because I came into the game like super late, just like 3 years ago. I started learning about all of this stuff, and I can totally attest that not having this knowledge has really affected my life and the choices that I had to make in the past. I had a huge business that I had just gotten off the ground in 2007, and so of course I was one of those casualties, right? I did bankruptcy and lost everything right after investing all of my money into this new business that I had started. So that's actually why I've made it my passion, my mission, to share with as many people as I can get to listen, even if I have to drag them in here kicking and screaming, because once they hear it, they're so grateful to understand what they've been missing out on their lives. But now to the big topic at hand, because I know a little bit about what happened. Tell us specifically, there was something that happened to you that kind of made you make an immediate right turn in your life and kind of slap in the face to realize that you couldn't work at the bank anymore, and you became what's now known as the rogue banker. Tell us about that.
So over the time that I was at the bank, I was I was trying to learn as much as I could about the back end of things, and I would always try to give like homeowners, that I would talk to on the phone, like hints about like how to really save money on their interest and like how the bank system really works.
Right.
And I started telling people about, and then this is some of the stuff I cover in my books, but I would tell people about the different margin buckets, that if you call the bank and ask for a mortgage, the first person that picks up, the phone doesn't ring equally for everybody at the bank. The people that are on the highest margin tier, which means they make the most profit for the bank, and they charge the highest rates, the phone rings for them first. And
the closers.
They can't answer. Exactly. If they can't answer, it goes to the next tier, which is a tier lower. Then the next one. If the phone rings like 20, 30 times, then you're talking to the lowest level guy. 1 second.
No worries.
Got Ed Milet speaking in the background.
That's okay. We'll let him in.
But basically, as the tiers move down, you get to the lower and lower margin bucket people at the bank. So on any random day that you call a bank, you could get a different person with a different rate bucket and get a completely different product.
Wow.
Depending on the luck of the draw, But they don't let it depend on luck. They have it tiered.
They know how to do it.
And I was one of the guys that was on the higher end because I always wanted to get the calls first. So I put myself at the highest margin bucket, but I would always give away as many points in lender credits, which is basically when the bank gives you money to cover your fees.
Right.
And whenever I couldn't make somebody qualify in my bucket, I would say, hey, let me transfer you over to another banker. They're at a lower bucket than I am. They can get you qualified for this loan, whereas I can't because my tier is so high,
Okay.
And I would regularly get pulled aside by my managers and, the people above me, and they'd be like, you can't tell people about this stuff. This is not okay, because this is how we make our money. If you keep telling people that bankers are in different tiers and they make different levels of profit and not all banks are the same, we're going to get people calling into the bank asking for that banker. Or
right.
And then we lose profit. You just charge the fees you're assigned, you charge the margin you're assigned, and that's it.
Wow.
You can't be giving away these secrets because nobody knows this unless you work in the industry.
Exactly.
You don't know that there's different bankers in the same bank, different bankers that can give you a different product.
Right. I'm sure that I believe that all my listeners probably have always known that it's not the best way to have the banks in charge of our money. Yeah, we kind of feel helpless, right? What are we supposed to do about it? Like, you have to have a bank account in order to accomplish pretty much anything in the world, right? But Mario, you are doing something about this now. Listeners, this is it. This is why I'm so excited that you're getting to hear Mario today. So pay attention right now. If you're doing anything else, stop it and listen to what he's about to tell you. Mario, tell me what you just started, what you're actually sharing with the world now.
So I attribute this, the course I've created, I attribute to this one couple who actually called into the bank. And what they had done kind of amazed me. I didn't think it was possible, and I had never researched it before. And a lot of the people in the bank, most people in the bank didn't even know about it. But they were able to pay off their home in 3 years.
Oh my goodness!
With middle class incomes, neither of them made more than $60,000 a year. You know, they were like teachers. They were not, high wealthy people. They paid off their $400,000 home in 3 years.
Wow!
And then over the span of the following 10 years, they had built $5 million in real estate assets, bought and paid for.
In cash.
Yes, because of something that they learned from an investor friend of theirs. And over the span of like 3-4 months, I still stay in contact with them today, but they taught me everything they knew, because they were like, hey, listen, we need more people to know about this, because there's people suffering everywhere. And we were able to do it just because we knew somebody who had done it before,
right?
And I looked into the, right. And it's crazy, because all of this stuff is word of mouth. You don't really, the banks don't advertise it because they don't make any money.
Of course not.
You pay off your house in 3 years, the bank makes no money in interest.
Exactly.
They save like 90% on their interest. But these products that are on the back end of the bank's offerings that they don't advertise, they only advertise the 30-year mortgage, because that's where they make all their money.
Right.
And if you don't believe me, look at your amortization schedule. And look how much interest you pay every month for the first 15 years.
Right.
You pay no principal, basically. But basically they were using these very liquid products that the bank offers, and there's different ones available, to use their house as an asset to purchase other homes. So they would use the equity that they have available, liquid. They wouldn't have to do a cash out refinance to get the money out. They didn't have to sell their home to get the money out. It was liquid, like a checking account. And they would use it to write checks and buy other properties in cash.
Oh my goodness. And
use the rental income and their own income to pay down the balance, so they could do it again and write another check and buy another property in cash. And they just did this year over year over year, over 10 years. And now they're making like, I think, $40,000 a month gross in rental income.
Wow.
After they pay their taxes and their property insurance and their property management company. They don't even manage the properties. They have other people do that. They make about $14,000 a month in net income after all taxes, after everything, all expenses, just money that they get to keep and take home and not worry about. $14,000 a month, which is more than they ever made, like just working.
Right.
Working.
Exactly.
And they did it using none of their own cash. They used all the bank's money.
That's crazy. That's amazing. I mean, I know we're here talking about, money specific things, but that sounds like it's right down on the lines of true real estate investing. Because I know down here in Florida, everyone wants to invest in real estate, but they don't know all of these tricks that you're talking about of how to truly invest without basically endangering your own money, as I see it, right?
Exactly.
So I'm not gonna let him go into too much more details, because I want you to get it straight from the source. I know you're all wanting more information about that. You can actually click the link below to go to his website. You can sign up, get all the juicy details straight from him. Because I don't want him to give away all his secrets right here, now.
I can't give away everything.
Right. I know I'm super excited myself about this program. Paying down my debts in the past was super rewarding, but with the thought of paying down my house really hasn't been something at the forefront of my mind, because I thought it was going to take me extra time, at least until I can increase my income dramatically, right?
Right.
But with these secrets that Mario is offering, this is a reality, a goal that you can accomplish in the very near future. So again, I am so honored that you're allowing me to share this information with my people. Is there anything else that you'd like to add before we finish up here today?
Yeah, my ultimate goal is to help every homeowner that I work with pay off their house in less than 10 years.
That's awesome.
Not changing their income, not decreasing their expenses, which is the number one thing that financial advisors tell you to do. Decrease your expenses, spend less money.
Right.
You know, cut these bills, cut these like luxuries that you have in your life. Don't
Right.
cut any of that stuff. Keep everything. Keep your life exactly the same as it is.
Awesome.
And it will still show you how to pay off your house in less than 10 years. You know, so it's not changing anything about what you're already doing. It's just taking a different vehicle.
Right.
You know, because the 30-year fixed rate mortgage is probably the worst vehicle to be in, which is why you see it on all the billboards and on TV. There's a reason why they advertise one specific product, because it's the one they make the most money on.
It's the money maker,
You know?
yeah.
Exactly.
That is
It's-
great. That is great. So again, thank you, Mario. If you'd like to know more about Mario, I am going to include his Facebook link below. You're sure to hear me talking more about his new project, because I'm going to be learning this right alongside you guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's episode. You can post questions here for Mario. I think he'll be willing to answer some of those for us. Thanks again for watching. Definitely make sure you don't miss the next episode. Hit the subscribe button below so that you get notified when it comes out. I am going to be talking about budgeting your money so that you can invest more in your future. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram on the links below. I hope I have inspired you today with these ideas and new thoughts on how to improve your life. Now it's your turn to go inspire someone. I'll see you next time. Thank you, Mario.